right, good morning, everyone. We are so glad you're here to our third Library Media School Closure webinar. Today, we are going to be talking about your virtual library. All right, we have a new hashtag. What's the department I'm spacing?
Teaching and Learning asked us, they're all making a hashtag for the content areas. And so they reached out through Nolan and said we needed to have a hashtag, and then they have a list of them so everybody can follow everyone, so to speak. So we made a new hashtag to represent the virtual library work that you guys are doing. So whenever you tweet something out about your library, please put that ridiculously long, sorry, hashtag, we tried, but we have to make it make sense somehow. So we want you to get the recognition you deserve. So tag your stuff with the PBCSD Virtual School Library. And more about that later, but yeah, tag your stuff so that the curriculum peeps see who's really doing a good job out there.
So, all right. We have new sharing documents this week, and they're going to be Padlets. I'm going to post them in the chat because the links are long. You're going to have to copy and paste these into your browser, but alternatively, you can use those QR codes, and they are working, but those are the links to the Padlets, one for the virtual library tip, and the other one is to showcase your elementary virtual library. All right, I'll give everybody a second to get those up before we move on. I'll put them in one more time. You can copy. I can see that these are working as links, so you can either right-click on them and open them in a new window. You can use the QR codes, however you want to access those documents. All right. So before we get started with today, Mackin, there are more free books. These are the Lightbox books, and you will have to go back and enter these into your Mackin shelf the same way you enter the ones that were Mackin books that they sent. If you have questions about how to do that, refer to last week's webinar or the tutorials that we sent out via YouTube, and they were in last week's newsletter. All right, so Lightbox titles, there's a caution with these. Some of they have interactive content, and some of the websites are just only okay. And they had some ads on them.
I came across one where they linked out from a Harriet Tubman book and to a website that was called the Harriet Tubman Museum. And if you really looked at the website, and it even said it was made by 2 graduate students as a project. And it was on a Weebly or one of those free services. And it was okay-ish, but it did pull in ads, and I got an ad for a dating site, which I seriously don't need. And so they're all sort of like that. They're not the greatest web links that could be out there. So that's unfortunate. But the rest of the book is, they're fairly interactive and so forth. So
I
your choice.
I purchased a bunch of light boxes, and I did get a lot of ads. It was annoying. It's the only bad thing about them.
Yeah, I think that's why their price point is so reasonable. So, yeah.
So, all right. Junior Library Guild. Holly, you want to talk about these?
We put this on the website, and I shot out an email because this is a streaming service, and the way that they do this is they add books each month or cycle somehow, and then they take some books away. So it's always refreshing itself. And this is only free right now because of the health crisis. if you want to take advantage of it, we sort of like their advice about using the publishcentral.com site and giving your students the username and password you see there. This way they only get to the elementary books and they don't accidentally get to the high school books. There's another route that's in that whole information listing, which you can look at under for full information. Go here on that slide once you get the slides by email. But I think this is a better way to go just so they see the elementary. But there's some great titles in there. There's a bunch of Mo Willems. Actually the word elementary there is also a link to the site where you can put in the username and password, and take a quick look at it's not the most intuitive search interface, but it is there. It's kind of hidden. You might want to show your kids, because otherwise you go, well, gee, there's only 6 books here, because it's like a front page. But you can sort by author and title and newest, and they also have a filter for leaving soon, the books that are going to come off the stream. So you might want to familiarize yourself with the search interface, just so you can help the kids find stuff that they really want. You know, like that. There's a whole bunch of Mo Willems books, and lots of there's Ivy and Bean, lots of good things that they might want to find. But it's not very browse friendly. It's more, you have to kind of search. So take a look at that and share that with your kids.
All right. I'm seeing in the chat a couple of people saying they don't have a Padlet account. You do not need to have a Padlet account. If you use that link, it will take you to our Padlet and you are free to post on it. Okay? This Knowledge Quest article we wanted to talk about, it's the snapshot of school librarian roles during the closures. And this was a national survey. Put that article up. I'm hoping that this is still, can you still see this? Is this still working?
I can see it.
Okay, good. So you can see that basically everyone is having the same issues, that only about 50% of kids have full access to technology and internet for their personal use in their home. 25% have shared access. 22% have access through a mobile device. 12% don't have reliable access, and 10% don't have access at all. Expanding their resources. This is the school library activities in response to closure. Fully 85.6% are offering virtual assistance via email, phone, and chat. 7% are delivering resources. 6% are making curbside pickups available. We are not recommending that. 76% are extending their checkout period. And almost 88% are expanding their online resources available to students. About 53% are offering virtual classes. You can see how they're offering virtual assistance. Largest percentage, though, is with email, followed closely by, well, as closely as you can get, by virtual office hours. Okay, and there's a breakdown of the demographics. You can peruse that article at your leisure, but it was really interesting to us.
Yeah, what jumped out at me is that I think we're pretty much on the leading edge of this. So many of you are doing multiple outreach. Yes, you're doing the email, but you have virtual pages set up, virtual library, you're doing office hours, you're doing a variety of things. And I thought we were, you know, pretty much, like I said, at the forefront of this. We're definitely not behind the trends that are going on around the country. So you guys can be proud of yourselves, and you know, take a look at that article to see where you fall, see what maybe ideas you want to add. You might want to share that with your administrator and compare it to what you're doing. Say, this is going on across the country with media specialists and librarians right now, and this is how I'm responding, and you know, what do you think we should do, kind of thing. Because they've never had a really good idea of what we do, and they definitely had no idea how to picture what you could do virtually. I think unfortunately we get discounted in that category. So a good time to promote yourself, because you guys are doing good work.
Absolutely. And on that topic, we're going to move on to some key takeaways from the article, "The School Library is Still Open, and 10 Ways to Change Our Physical Spaces into Virtual Libraries." The first one being building a virtual desk, right? Completely update your library landing page. And if you don't have a landing page, or you don't want to use the landing page, build a Google site, build a Google Classroom, build some way to connect with your patrons. The article suggests including an Ask the Librarian button that links directly to an open Google Meet. If you're using the new conventions for Google Meet, students shouldn't be able to join while you're not there, and they shouldn't be able to remain in it after you close it. So you can have that virtual Meet opened and provide access for your students. All right. I see, before I move on, I see Elizabeth asking if people are doing the morning announcements. I have seen people doing some. Tony is going to be sharing and David is going to be sharing later, and they are both doing their morning announcements, and they can share tips and techniques for how they're doing that. Be a reliable source of information. There is so much information out there, and it can be completely overwhelming. Help your patrons by curating some of the most up-to-date information for them and keeping it in one place, right? Don't overwhelm them with information. Please, please, please still be a book provider. We know it's not in the same sense that you were a book provider when we were in our physical spaces, but there are so many resources available for them digitally, and you're just going to have to help them get to those resources and curate them for your students. It's overwhelming to them. Maybe do a Google Meet on how they can access the Capstone Interactive ebooks, or the Tumble books, or the Junior Library Guild. Record yourself showing them how to access these things so your children know how to get to them. And this has been a struggle for everyone, but please try and be a part of their classroom assignments. Email your teacher your Ask a Librarian link. Offer to run synchronous research help sessions. If they're doing a research project with their class, offer to come join their class on the Google Hangout and help their students through the research process. You can still be there for all of your students and help them with all of their assignments, even virtually. Many of you are already doing this. Run your virtual book clubs. There are so many authors out there that are providing access to their books and recording books. Tyler Whitesides is recording one of his books and posting it up on his website. Students can listen to their favorite authors, read these books, and you can run a book club that way. Make use of Hoopla at either the Mandel Library or the County Library. Those are multi-user synchronous ebooks, so that people can be all reading the same book at the same time, and then you can come together and talk about that book. This is a big one. Communicate with administration. They oftentimes don't understand what we do in the real world, and they definitely don't understand what we're doing in the virtual world, but communicate that with them. Make a newsletter, make a website, do something that communicates to your administration exactly how you are helping your students, that you are still here, you are still helping, you are still teaching, and you are still helping them get their books. The article suggests hosting weekly faculty meetups. I think that's a little bit much, but definitely host some faculty meetups. We're the hub of the school. Continue to make it that way. Make a library meetup. Make a virtual library meetup. There's no reason that we can't still be the hub of the school, even though we're not all physically together. Take this time while we're not in school to read. Those books you've been waiting to read them now. Take out an ebook. Just keep reading and keep telling your students about all of these books that are out there.
Yeah,
they want to hear from you. Go ahead.
On that note, though, Lisa, too, I think we posted it on the Library Current website, but both Library Journal and School Library Journal and Book List has some free things out, but definitely School Library Journal is wide open, and there's great articles in there, ideas, what other librarians or school librarians are doing around the country, and it's all free online right now. And so are the reviews to find new books you want to tell your kids about. So Lisa's definitely right that some extra time to read about what we're doing and the books that we want to share with the kids.
Yeah, as I'm looking in the chat now, Cheryl, there are some how-tos on how to run a virtual book club. They're on the middle school page and the teaching from home resources on Library Current. Couple of you were asking about Hoopla and the cloud library. And yes, they do need a library card, but both the Mandel and the public library are providing e-cards. So kids can log on with their parents and get an e-card even while the libraries are closed. I logged on the other day, got an e-card from Mandel, and 2 days later had the physical card in my hands. So they are making this possible.
Yeah, you can have both cards, because Mandel will give a card to anyone, whether inside West Palm Beach city limits or not, even though they're a city library. And all that information is posted on the middle school and high school pages next to the book club information. And it's a good time to mention that this afternoon we're reprising our Topical Tuesday with a meeting about Google Classroom and Gale. But next week we will have the digital public librarian from the Palm Beach County Library System, and she's going to go over all the different ebook accesses that they have at the county library. So you might want to tune in next Tuesday, the 21st, for Topical Tuesday. You'll get a calendar invite, and you can ask their librarian directly what the resources are and how you can help the students use them, and she'll show you about the e-card application too. So mark your calendars for next week.
And it really pays to have your students join both libraries, have cards to both. I was researching for somebody some book titles in Hoopla, and Mandel seemed to have a little bit more in Hoopla, whereas the county library has more in Cloud Library. So there's no reason not to have a card to each library and make use of both of them. And with all of this, we need to caution and not overwhelm our staff. That's why we're suggesting these Google Sites and Google Classrooms that staff have access to. That way, all of the information is in one place and you don't overwhelm them and flood their inboxes with every little piece of information. I think the best way would be the Google Site, because they then don't get an email every time you post something. You just remind them occasionally to check out your Google Site, okay? And then we're going to link out to this article so you can read the whole article. We shared the gist of it with you. But with that, we are going to move on to our website and the new page that we added. Then we're going to bring Tony Lipsher in and David Wojtek in to share about their virtual libraries. So you can see we're updating as much as we can on our website, and we now have a new page called Virtual Libraries in Action. And we are highlighting all of your virtual libraries as you send them to us on our page. With that, I'm going to bring up David's website. This is David's website. David, if you want to unmute and talk about your website and the thought process that went out into designing it and what you put on it and why.
Hi guys, first of all. When I started this, I started it before we were kind of kicked out of school. And I've also attached it to our school website so that the kids have access to it too. So I've made it aware that, there's some things on there for the teachers, some things on there for the kids. I've also been very appreciative that I have wonderful friends out there that we go back and forth and share what we're putting on there. The big thing that I used it as is a resource for the kids to have additional things to do. Like Lisa was saying, we're not supposed to overwhelm the teachers as well as the kids. Like we had our faculty meeting for fine arts yesterday from my principal, and my principal said we are just a supplement to make them smile and enjoy reading something online or doing a music activity or PE or so on. And so I've tried to keep things very simple. So if you see Lisa's, I don't know if she's able to scroll through it because my screen is a very tiny screen. I have websites available for the kids to go to that offers the Palm Beach County research that Lisa sent out, NASA images, Fable Vision, coding. The favorite that the kids like is the field trips, the virtual field trips set tab. Like this morning, I got a nice email from a kid saying it was so much fun to go visit a zoo in another place, and all of them are linked to the different camera. There's a section for videos if they need. The read aloud section the teachers are aware of to know that they can go there to have opportunities for read aloud. And then the media resources, I've put like digital databases, ebooks, audible books, decodable books. I put the link right to the Palm Beach County Public Library ebook link, World Book information. So I'm not saying this is what the end all is. I could probably keep adding to it every time. And every time I see things from like a Tony Lipshire or Debbie Tanner or our little groups of buddies that are working on their pages and things and have the suggestions, I'm grateful that I just share them and go back and forth. It just takes time to use it. Pay attention to the making the site. It's very easy. Once you learn how to attach the link and change the fonts and all that stuff, it works out really well. And I never made a site before, don't know how to use a site, and I thought it came out pretty nice for stuff that the kids could use. I'm not sure what other questions you may have, but please go ahead and look at it and see if there's anything you think I should add. You can send me an email and I'll look it up.
So I have one suggestion of what you could add, which would be your daily news show. If you're producing a daily news show, showcase it here. That way the kids can go back and watch it.
Our news show, well, the reason why I don't, Lisa, is because remember I told you our news show is done live by Miss Galindo, our principal. And I send her a second video that she plays with it. And then she posts it on the school's Google Classroom. So I don't want to have it in multiple places. She has to put it in one location. So I send her every day a video. And I will say, Tony, you're amazing. Your videos are fantastic. I learned that, like right now, it's Poetry Month, and I can explain to you how I do my announcements at the moment. I use Screencastify, and the children's poems come up on the screen, so you just see a little box of me reading the kids' poems and sharing the kids' poems, and I share about 5 or 6 of them a day. And then I send it to Miss Galindo, and then she attaches it to her announcements, and then she posts them for them, all the parents and families to see. So that's why there's one location, Lisa, that she didn't want 2 spots for the announcement. That makes sense. So it does make sense. She just wanted one spot for the parents and stuff, and then she's like, David, you do your thing over there. And I will tell you that your principals do have access to see what you're doing. Like data-wise, like I know during our meeting, I assigned, because it was like a rotation the way she has it, she could see how many assignments I've submitted and how many responses back I've gotten. So when she was going over the data, she was trying to explain to us like 90% of the students have already enrolled. They're trying to look into where the 10% are missing, emailing out and making phone calls. But for fine arts, we still only have half of that enrollment. Even though the kids have touched into the teachers' classrooms, they're not necessarily attached to fine arts. But she didn't even address mine because I have, out of all the fine arts, I have the most completed assignments.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
That's really great, David.
The site is really amazing. We're going to be linking all of these off of our page. So if you want to see other people's virtual sites, they will be, that link is now live on Library Current. Go right there.
And Michelina asked a question in regards to how do I attach it to the school website. I have access to go into the website, and I have a section tab. It's not spectacular. I'm not going to lie to you, the media part, because we just literally added that part for me. So I just put the link for the one. So that's all that's there at the moment. But the thing is, it's a start because I asked permission to have access to it. So that'll be one of my homework assignments this summer, to try to add more things to the website. But I wanted to have the kids have access to it because they have it in my Google Classroom access, and they have it from the Miss Galindo, obviously on hers, as well as the school website if they lose it. So they have multiple ways of getting to it.
Yes. Cheryl, yes,
Lisa?
you need to find out. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just going to throw out there, I see a lot of people asking how they can build these things. And EdTech has a great set of webinars and things, and so does Melissa Landers Matthews. To learn about Google Sites, we have stuff linked on our page to learn about Adobe Spark. So if you're starting from ground zero, don't worry. There are some resources so you can learn these things, and we can answer questions for you if you need be. But just pick a platform and learn a little bit about it and give it a try. And you can look at other people's examples from this new page that we've added to get ideas of how to format your page. It really, Google Sites is real intuitive and easy to do. Just give it a try.
The other thing is,
Absolutely.
Be surprised.
Holly Ann, the thing that I noticed that when I made this, it offered me the option to use the old Google Sites or the new Google Sites, and my choice was the new Google Sites, obviously.
Yeah, use the new one. It's a lot better.
It's truthfully, it's crazy fast once you learn the silly tips of how to put the URL in and how to put the title and description in. Once you learn that one time, you'll start noticing that, like, Debbie, don't get mad at me. I'm like going to use you. Debbie and I were over the phone, and I was asking her to look at my site, and like Debbie's like, hey, try this. And I literally was posting it as we were talking. You could do it that fast. So the thing is, once you like learn how the little tips of how to put the URL in, it's like super fast. But I saw some people's pages, and they're very cute and like kid-like. I was just like trying my hardest just to keep it, simple.
Well, you know what, David? I think yours is maybe you wouldn't use the word kid-like, but I think yours is like super direct. And kids and parents that don't do a lot of web surfing, I think yours works great for that. It's like just read the first line, and they know exactly what to click.
Like one of my emails today from a kid was like, thank you, Mr. Wojcik. This was fun to play around with this morning. I really enjoyed using the site. So it's like, I'm not pushing it because we were told like we're overwhelming our teachers. And I've literally pushed back, and the teachers reach out to me. So I left it like, I think that's a smarter route right now, because the focus from my principal, that's why I said everyone's is totally different. My principal said our focus is getting the kids doing the reading, math, and a little bit of the science each day, and getting on to their Reading Plus and whatever other things that they need to get on. If they're trying the best they can to get out to us, we just need to make it fun and just keep writing positive things to the kids, encouraging things to the kids. So I've been like taking my time going to see who didn't turn in a homework, and I'll write them a nice email saying, come on guys, you can do this. If you need help, let me know.
Right. And honestly, getting it made is the most important part. Then you can pretty it up later. But get that information out there, launch your virtual media center, have it ready for your patrons and your faculty and staff and your administration, right? I'm going to flip over to Tony, and then I'm going to pull up Marcy Bueno's site because she's just shared it with me, and it's adorable, and it's completely different. You'll see everybody is putting their own spin on this. So I'm going to have Tony unmute herself, and then I'll pull up the virtual book club first.
So we've been doing a virtual book club. I started over spring break, and I basically did that, number one, to learn how to Google Meet so that I was prepared when this whole thing went live. And so I probably have about 15 kids currently in my virtual book club, only because we started over spring break. We are finishing our book this week. And so I'm through my news and through my Google Classroom, I am putting it out there that we're starting a new book and that I want more people to join. And I've already had some kids email me and say, I want to join. I didn't even know about this. And we meet, we Google Meet like a club pretty much almost every other day at 3 o'clock. So when their day is done and their homework is pretty much done, that's when we Google Meet. And we Google Meet for a half an hour. I've invited a couple of teachers to join me. So it's really good to have their perspective. And for the kids to see another teacher join the book club as well. I did just invite the author to join my Google Meet, but she declined. So I'm kind of bummed about that, but that's okay. We're still having a great time. And the kids are always commenting. I allow their comments on I have a separate virtual book club Google Classroom for that. And so that's how I'm doing it. And so Michelina, I chose Maxie's Secrets because in Mac and Via, it has 108 possible checkouts. And it was also last year's SSYRA. I know, I love that book too. And so I realized that maybe a lot of the kids hadn't read it because it's basically 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and the 5th graders from last year left. So long story short, I chose that, and I spent last night going through Mac and Via and seeing what other books have like 108 possible checkouts. And you can go into the Mac and Via site and then try to do it. You advanced search through reading level, and then I also did it through number of pages, so I knew I was getting a chapter book. And so then and it really like condensed my search, and so I was able to. Last night, I copied and pasted it into a Google Doc so that I can send it out to the kids. And we're gonna vote on the next book. I'm gonna do a Google form, and we're gonna vote on the next book that we're gonna read, but using Mac and Via because that is the resource that I know that definitely that everybody has access to.
All right, now I'm gonna flip to your main Google Classroom.
So I totally admire David. That site is amazing. That's one of the things that I want to tackle. We're all trying to do things and get our information right now. I'm just trying to keep my information in one place. In my classroom, I made tabs. So if you actually go into the create or topics, you can create topics. And so I have all different kinds of topics. I'm on a fixed flexible schedule. So currently right now I'm teaching kindergarten, 4th and 5th, but I'm also doing things for others as well. So I have my news crew. We have Google Meets and things like that, so that we're trying to get them more involved in my morning news. I have some how-tos where I videoed my own self, like with the Mac and Via and Capstone. But then Lisa and Holly have been amazing with their Library Current, and I was able to go through there and hit their Adobe Spark and just kind of put that out there as well. I made my own Adobe Spark so that they could see that it was super simple and it didn't have to be extravagant. And then any book resources, because again, like David said, principals do not want us overwhelming. At least mine as well does not want and even the teachers at the very beginning were like, please don't reply to all. I cannot keep up. And so I try to just make sure that there's free. If they need digital resources, they're right there. My assistant principal also has his page, so I send them to him too to put him on his page, and then we go from there. As far as my As far as my morning announcements, I have set up like a Google Doc that I shared with everybody, and I have different categories. So I have the Pledge of Allegiance, what's cooking, the weather, a reporter, and so the teachers and some of my news crew will sign up for different things, and they're required to videotape them and either send it to me via email as a .mov file, or some of the teachers have my phone number, so they'll just text me their videos, and then I go into to iMovie, and I also went into Google Slides, and I made some segments, and so I saved those as JPEGs. And then it's so easy to just upload them into iMovie. And then I searched free children's music news, and I had 3 different kind of news music pop up. And so I stay consistent with, I downloaded those into iTunes, and it sounds like a lot, but like now I can literally throw together a news show in like less than 10 minutes. So, you know, the first couple of ones were trial and error. The first couple of ones I just did on my own, just through Google Meet, and I would video myself and record myself. But then once I started the teachers, I'm telling you, these teachers are hysterical. And some of the things, and I you know, the more creative, the better. And we've done some really, really fun things with our news.
Yeah, and I just posted a link to Tony's YouTube channel. Check out her morning announcements. They're adorable. The kids are so cute. So cute.
Yeah, today
and the teachers are totally hamming it up.
Oh, they're out of control, really. Some of them I think could have a side business, like you know, as stand-up comedians. But on today's, it was really super cute because we have a kindergartner who has been wanting to be a newscaster since the day he got to kindergarten. And so he had his mom literally film him probably about 20 times. And then they sent me this, and normally I don't let anybody do the news unless they're in 5th grade. But there have been a couple of people, you know, this is a time when I believe, you know, the rules are obviously lax. So when something comes out there that's super cute, like this kid was amazing today. And so I was able to include him and get permission from his mom. And it turned out really, really, really cute. So.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Check them out. They are adorable. Marcy, do you want to unmute yourself? I'm going to bring your website over. And this is Gove Elementary's website. And Marcy, if you want to talk about your website and what you did with it. Sure. This is great. She's got a welcome video, ebooks and read alouds. And if you were following in the chat, Marcy was talking about Wakelet. Wakelet is a great curation tool, and then you can then take the Wakelets and embed them into your website.
Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. I can only see my picture. I can't see the screen you had. Let's see. Trying to. Okay. So yeah, I use that website that you're referring to because I like that you can curate all your information in one place and, you know, embed it into the Google site. And another cool thing about Wakelet is that if you add something to one of your categories, it automatically will change it in your Google site. So that's a big time saver.
Yeah, it's a wonderful tool. Just look at all these tools that she's got right here in one spot, super easy. And then you update it once.
Right. And it was the first time I've ever used Google Sites before. It was pretty easy. There's a lot of tutorials, but it's pretty self-explanatory, really easy to manage. And it's something that I'll definitely use moving forward, you know, obviously adding stuff to it when we get back to school. But at least everything's kind of in one place. And hopefully it'll be easy for people to find the things that they need. I do have a Google Classroom as well, so both things are linked. So if I put any kind of assignments up for now, I put it in the Google Classroom, but then they know they can go to the Google site to find the information they need.
Right, and she's got her Google Classroom code right here. Easy for the kids.
Yeah.
And then there's Google Classroom. Yeah, Tony, maybe we will do a PD on Wakelet and Padlet. They're great tools and easy to use and sort of free. Jennifer, you can embed Adobe Spark things into pages, into Google Sites as well.
Yeah, videos and stuff.
They're
you know,
videos,
another one
they're
we need to
graphics.
include on that list, Lisa, to do a webinar is the video feature of Flipgrid, because that's really a great tool. And then you could embed those in your Google Sites too. I don't know if y'all have tried that at all, but Lisa showed me how to do that. I used it for a webinar, a piece of a webinar that I did for Ed Tech on Monday, and it was really easy to pull together a video. So another thing to look at to add multimedia to your Google Sites. So we should do that. You should just feature that one piece, Lisa.
Okay, absolutely. I'm glad to see a lot of teachers are using Flipgrid. Ed Tech did a great webinar on that. So if you're brand new to Flipgrid, go ahead, check that out at Ed Tech. I can include the link in this week's newsletter. But I'm going to go flip over to our Padlets. And we have no tips to share yet. And no libraries yet, unless like
click
hold on,
the
let me refresh.
pink button, people. Click the pink button and add your stuff.
Please. If you have created a digital library and you have not shared it there yet, if you wouldn't mind putting your link in the chat and we'll feature it right now.
And we do have big plans for that virtual library site that we showed you, that page. We are going to tweet that out and tag the upper leadership and email it to them, and Nolan's going to know about it. We want to highlight the work you're doing and show how connected you are and what a important resource our libraries are. So, you know that we're trying to get you the recognition you deserve.
All right. Hang on. Millie Blanco just shared with me Berkshire Elementaries. I'm going to bring it over so you can see it. So this is Millie Blanco at Berkshire. Millie, if you want to unmute yourself and talk a little bit about your website. Millie, are you there? All right, well, we wait for Millie to unmute herself. I like her. Go ahead. There you go.
Okay. Basically, I've been using this media website. I come from Broward County, and I've been using it for many years. So I keep adding more and more to it, and I find it pretty easy. What I do is I start teaching the kids how to navigate through it, and I just keep incorporating new things to it. The homepage pretty much has a lot of ebooks that I've done in the past and current ones that we keep adding along the way. And basically it has online resources. It has neat interactive tools like the story time with the astronauts in NASA. I show them how to access that. And basically what I've been doing is just tutorials to the kids on how to access the various information. and how they can navigate through it, get ebooks, and basically all the tabs directs them directly to the student portal. So, you know, everything they have to access. Before, you would have separate logins, but now the student portal holds all the information in there. So it just directs them in there to the student portal, and they're able to go on and access the ebooks. That's about it.
Thank you for
Thank you for
making sure
sharing.
that your kids are directed to the student portal, though, Millie. That's really important that our resources, they authenticate so much better through the portal, and it makes life easier for everyone. So thank you for making sure they navigate through the portal to their things, because a lot of people try to go around it with direct links and it doesn't really work out well. So thanks.
We really appreciate that. We will be adding this to our virtual library page. Please make sure that you share your sites with us so that we can highlight them, because you guys are doing a phenomenal job. This is not comfortable for anyone. And we asked you guys to turn on a dime and take your libraries virtual, and you're doing it, and you're doing it spectacularly. I can't even say how proud I am to be a part of this group of librarians and to see what you're doing and how well you're doing it. Raquel, you want a list of what tiles are preset? I'm not sure what you mean by that. The kids have access to all of the resources we've talked about. Tumble books, Mac and Via, they're all in the portal. I would teach your kids how to favorite them, and that way they're all going to appear on their favorites and they won't have to search them every time, and they simply just right click and favorite. It's super easy. And remember that we've added, during the closure, there's the interactive ebooks from Capstone, and they do have to search interactive ebooks. And we've added Pebble Go Next. Those are tiles now as well, but you have to search for the things. So Raquel, for the students, I think it's on the other academic resources. I think that's the tab where it is. But if you ask your kids to type in Pebble Go will come up, as will Pebble Go Next. If they type in interactive, the interactive ebooks will come up. It's based on how our IT department named the tiles.
Basically, all the instructional and stuff that you can see on your instructional tab, unless it's just teacher oriented, the things that ed tech pays for, like discovery streaming and those kind of things, but all of the tools that we purchase, they are all linked in both the student and the teacher portals. They will not show up in portals for, say, the secretarial staff or the ITSAs or non-instructional people, but they're in every teacher and every student. So you can just have them search for them.
All right, before we go to questions, does anyone have anything that they want to ask, anything they want to share, another site they'd like to share with us? We've got Manatee's distance learning site. I'm going to pull that up. This is from Manatee Elementary. And do you want to, Amy, you want to unmute yourself and share about your site?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I created this. Also, my principal didn't want everybody overwhelmed. And originally I started just doing one for the school, for as if we were there. I'm going to continue that next year. But then I found a lot of things were, pertinent to now. So I just made a one-stop shop for the teachers to go to. And I put basically linking things to, well, actually this is, I can't link it from here. It's pretty much the same things that everyone else had, just an easy access for the teachers to have. Overwhelm.
You can see
Oh,
the
looks
EBSCO
good.
book. Looks really good. And I like that you added, since this is for the teachers, I like that you added the social media events so that teachers can then point their students to
Yeah.
these. We don't want to share directly to, particularly for elementary kids, out to social media, but some amazing things are happening via social media. And if parents and faculty know about it, they can help point their students to it. For those of you who haven't seen, Erica Pearl is doing, she's calling it Winging It. Every Tuesday, she reads a book alive on Instagram, and then she's archiving them on YouTube so that you can post those for your students. And this is great. This is something I haven't seen yet, podcasts for students. So I love this, things for our students to listen to, new resources for them. And I'm going to go back to our site. And Tempe, do you want to talk about the virtual escape rooms that you've added to your Google Classroom? Tempe, you want to unmute yourself and talk about the virtual escape rooms?
Sure. There's a bunch of virtual escape rooms out there. I found about 12. And it's optional that the kids love them, though. They keep asking for more. I've been posting 1 a week, but now I'm posting 2 a week. And they can do them with their family. And if they mess up, they just go back a step. And so it's kind of foolproof. If they're kindergarten through 5th, they can handle it. And they all love them. So you can just Google search them, and they're free. People have created them all over the country through Google Docs, I think. And they're really easy. So look for them. They're fun.
That's awesome. And if you haven't seen, Breakout EDU has made some of their virtual breakouts free. I'm going to drag that over so you can see. And they have a breakout at home section, and you can post those into your Google Classroom. But they are having a free section during the shutdown, and I will find the free ones and post them in the newsletter. So you have a link to the Breakout EDU free breakout at homes.
Somebody asked if they're safe. I check them all before I post them just to make sure, but most of them have been created by county libraries, so they're pretty safe. But I always go through it first before I post it.
Absolutely. I mean,
That's a good idea, Wimpy.
I agree, because we wouldn't give our kids if we were with them, we wouldn't give them a resource we hadn't checked out ahead of time anyway. And the same holds true in our virtual libraries. We have some time for questions. If anyone has questions, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
So I've never done the virtual rooms, or escape rooms rather. So does that mean that they can actually go in and then no one else can be in there with them, like some person that shouldn't be? Or is it like a private thing? How does it work?
Most of the ones I've seen are like a Google form, and they're going through on a form and answering questions that way. So it's not like they're in an actual physical room. So there's no real danger to it with them.
Okay.
For them. But I would check all the links, make sure they're appropriate, and all of those, the things that we would do if we were going to give it to them when we saw them, we're still going to do when we give it to them virtually, right? And Tempe, David's asking if you could post a URL for the rooms. If you have a list of them, just email it to me and I'll put it in the newsletter. That works too.
Okay, yeah, I have a bunch, so I'll just send you the links to all of them at once.
Okay, and I will share those links out in this week's newsletter.
Okay.
And yes, Amy, you can create your own escape rooms. They are, from what I understand, very easy to make. I have never made my own. I have just used others, and they are super fun. If your teachers are having questions about how Pebble Go, Worldbook, Tumblebooks, Gale Research go with Google Classroom, please point them to this webinar. Holly Ann did this webinar with Ed Tech yesterday, and she has step-by-step instructions that are here for you guys to share with your teachers. This may really help them.
And one thing, even if you don't want to go through the whole webinar, if you go and if you can slide through it, there is a link to a very short video I made using Flipgrid video to show people how to find the Capstone Interactive books and how to use them, because that's something new and people are having a hard time finding them, because of course the natural thing to do is search by the word capstone, and that's not the way IT labeled it, so it doesn't come up. So it's like one or 2 minutes long. So if you want to grab that URL, it's on YouTube, and share that with your teachers. Just a little quick fact, here's how you can get to some multi-user ebooks. You might want that too.
And on these resources, there is a link to that YouTube video. And I will post that YouTube in the newsletter, just to make it easy on everyone. I'll post a link to the webinar, to the resources, and to the YouTube. Topical Tuesday tomorrow. Holly Ann already mentioned that Robin Heston will be with us, and she's going to be presenting. Oh, sorry, that's today, not tomorrow.
Today.
See, it's Groundhog's Day. Every day is the same. It is today at 2:30. Robin Heston will be with us presenting about how Gale and Google Classroom go together. And their integration is seamless. It is a fabulous resource for you and for your teachers. And next Tuesday at 2:30, the Palm Beach County Library will be with us for Topical Tuesday, and they will be talking about their digital resources. And oops, see, this is what happens when you mouse too quickly.
Do feel free to those two webinars, the Topical Tuesday. Feel free to invite your teachers if you'd like, or you know a certain teacher that's been struggling or asking a lot of questions about Google Classroom or expressing frustration. Feel free to invite them. And just let them know that, when we start talking about the 2 points and the follow-up, that only applies to media specialists. But I know Amy Armbruster is going to invite her teachers to come this afternoon at 2:30 that want to know about Gale and Google Classroom. So feel free to invite teachers if you think they have a need.
Okay.
All right.
I asked a question in the captions before. Are you guys gonna like put together like the author virtual things that are available, all the lives and stuff? Because I get a bunch of them, but I saw when everybody was sharing, there was other ones that are available, and the kids like them a lot.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty endless. So you're asking if we put them all on one web page or something?
I
mean, put it on
mean,
Library Current?
yeah, maybe we can share them or something, because I mean, I know I had 5 author visits before school closed, and the kids like really loved them. So if we could, share that, then they can feel like they're kind of doing the author visits again.
So I posted a bunch of those on our digital resources and ebooks page, and
Okay.
that links off of Library Current. Like Mo Willems is doing something every day. Jarrett Kozeska is doing something every day.
Michelina.
Yeah.
The way I made my page, not to lie to you, all the spots where it's all about the read alouds, either I checked from Facebook, I checked from Twitter, I checked from what Lisa just said from their reference. I've also looked up some of my own. I always check them first to make sure what it is and where I'm sending a link to.
Right, of course.
But the thing is, it's you got to do a little bit of the research yourself. I mean, like, I know Lisa's putting it all in one page, and as she gets them, I can tell she's adding to it. So that's the only way that these meetings will help, is like we just keep adding to those sheets in one place for Lisa to put it, and then obviously you can cut and paste from it, because I'm not going to lie to you. I used some of Lisa's. I went to some of Tony's. Shannon, I'm sorry, I used some of yours. I went to some of Debbie's. I'm like, I sat there and just kept grabbing a little bit here. And Carolyn, you're the tweet master, so it's like I like looked at a bunch of stuff she said. So like I had to do a little bit of homework myself, but it was like I sat there and I looked up Carolyn and I looked up all the things she talked about. I looked up Debbie. I looked up all the things she did. I looked up, you know, the next person, Deborah Bengsing. Like each person, I looked at something and I grabbed from them, and that's the only way that we're all going to create these wonderful sites.
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying, you know, sharing is important.
It is, and we're doing the best we can to share them all. But if you guys share your sites with us, we'll put them all in one place so you can pull from everybody's sites easily.
Yeah, that's good.
And see what everybody else is doing. And Debbie, you're right. That is exactly what we do. We curate the best stuff. And you guys share with us, we share with you, and it really is just a partnership. Tony, I'm so glad you are getting use out of Library Current. That was our hope when we created it, and we're going to keep adding to it as we go. If there's something you guys need for us to add to it, please, please, please let us know. We are open to adding things all the time. We want to keep it current and helpful to you. All right, and with that, I think we are just about out of time. You know how to find us. We will be back here next Tuesday. We're so glad you guys are all coming and joining us. We love seeing your faces and meeting with you weekly. Have a great week, and we will see you hopefully this afternoon.
Come back at 2:30 if you can for Typical Tuesday.
Please, we would love to see you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.